PlayStation believes in great games.
Hello and good day to you, my beautiful friends. I do hope you are well. Welcome to episode 24 of the official Masternoid podcast. No, of CrossButton VR, a beginner's journey into PSVR2, a show for those who want to share in our newcomers' enthusiasm for the world of VR. Now, I'm your host, Laurie, but for anyone that hasn't really been paying attention these last few weeks, I just want to let you know that we are part of the Cross Players. So, if you find yourself enjoying what you hear, check out thecrossplayers.com for links to all of our content and our Discord. Now it is an honour to be joined by two of what must surely be the most impressive influences in the metaverse. It's Ben and Alex. How you doing there, guys?
Very well,
just
thank you, Laurie.
Sitting here being impressive, man.
Just being impressive.
Just a typical day at the office.
Look at you both.
Just look at us.
You working?
You can look at us at youtube.com/thecrossplayers.
I can't imagine you two in offices. No offence.
What the fuck is that supposed to mean?
I know, I was kind of wondering that myself. Like, what do you mean? We don't look good enough to work in an office, Ben.
It's just quite professional places, aren't they? Yeah, I just wanted to go.
Wow.
I'm a very professional person. Thank you very much. I'm an auditor.
I couldn't let it go more than a minute without being mean to you.
No, that's true. I have you know, I went into the office this week and I was wearing pink shorts and a stripy t-shirt.
Did you?
And,
you wore shorts in the office, well, there you go.
Very professional.
Exactly, which I think feeds into your
shorts,
your idea of us. That's professionals.
I mean, yeah.
And it was raining to make it worse as well.
You put some tube.
No,
yeah, okay. So yeah, when it's a huge heat
trainers.
wave and you've got to go on the tube in a heat wave, I can understand shorts, but just it's quite cold out there. It's quite mild, the weather at the moment. You're just mooching about.
It's a warm office, though. You know, it's warm. It's warm. Yeah, it's not cold. But anyway,
cool.
Thanks for calling us impressive and then saying scruffy bastards, basically.
Well, yeah.
I build you up and then I smash you back down again. That's how it works.
Like the British press.
You must know it's by now. Good. Well, we've got a little bit of news for people tonight. We've got a few games that you've been playing. One of which, in particular, I want to hear Alex's thoughts on. And then we're going to be doing a review of the Room VR. So that's all coming up. Yeah. So first bit of news then. Green Hell. What name for a game that is? Green Hell, which was one of the games I think was revealed in some State of Play. I think they did a little 4 or 5 VR announcements, didn't they, at the State of Play a few months ago, and that was one of them. So they had a new trailer for that, and there was a release date given of August the 15th, which is not that long at all, is it?
No, another game in August. Yeah,
another very busy month. It comes out. So comes out next week, as people will be hearing this episode. Is this on either of your two's radars?
Not me.
No.
Mainly because I'm not a survival person. Like I don't enjoy that hunting, gathering, doing all these. Like it's just too involved for my liking.
Real.
I don't like reality.
Too real. Don't like it. Yeah. You can't go into any offices wearing your shorts.
To live is to suffer, but to survive is to find meaning in the suffering, as they say. That's all I've got to contribute to this conversation. I'm out. Peace.
But it does make for a busy August, though.
Oh, it does, yes. Oh, very busy August. Have you got a list of releases for August?
Well, we do. We have VR Skater, which I have it. You can go on if you want. I mean, I do have it. I don't need to.
No, go on, thank you. I was going to give you a bit of time to find the list, but you're consummate professional.
See, he's a professional. Even though he's dressed like a bum, he is a professional.
He wouldn't be wearing pink shorts into the office, would he? Would he?
I have gone to the office in shorts.
Okay.
So, we have VR Skater, which is out today as we record. We have Green Hell VR, as you talked about. We have the end of the month. We have the double header of shooters that we spoke about last week with Crossfire Sierra Squad and Firewall Ultra, and we also have Phasmophobia. And they're some work to get a date, but we don't quite have a date for that yet. So a few to come. We did run a little poll on our Twitter to see what people were most looking forward to. And Fireball Ultra just came out on top at 39%, with Crossfire with 30%, Green Hell with 19%, and VR Skater with 12%. And you can only have 4 options, so Phasmophobia wasn't in there, but people did then comment Phasmophobia, so there's a good bit of excitement.
Oh, wait, what about
for
Phasmophobia?
Nice.
Yeah. Well, that's, because when I answered that...
But we don't do the scary games.
When I replied to that poll, I said Crossfire, and that was quite far ahead when I did that. So obviously there were the Firewall fans found the poll and swooped in at the last minute to get over the line. Congratulations to your victory. Busy month, and it always annoys me when people like post out pictures of PSVR2 and they're like, "Oh, Sony forgotten this thing exists or something. They're going to release some games for it one of these days." And I'm like, "What are you talking about? There's like more games come out for this than like normal PS5. It seems like, I don't know, but there's lots to play. They might not all be to your taste, but that's another question.
I think the problem is, and let's not go too deep into it right now, but I think the problem is that people associate Sony with big first-party Sony games, and when you see not that, I think people just interpret that as, well, there's nothing coming out.
Yeah.
It's like the people that have selective blindness for indies, and like, I don't play indies. I'm like, well,
exactly. I don't like indies. God, that's the most infuriating thing in the world. Let's move on.
But they just sit and play like shite Nintendo games.
Also,
that's completely. Ben's gonna get very, very angry by the time he's going to turn to like Hulk and just start smashing stuff. So we better move on to talk about the. I kind of guess this is a reveal of a game, and this was, I think, one of the developers just on Twitter, just casually tweeting the other night that Crisis Brigade 2 is coming over to PSVR 2. This is a PSVR 1, Quest 5, everywhere else game that's now getting a PSVR 2 port. And Crisis Brigade 2, for those that do not know, is basically a Time Crisis. I don't want to say rip-off, but it's clearly very influenced by and in the style of Time Crisis. It's an on-rails shooter that you have to duck for cover and just shoot all the stuff in the time. Very leaderboardy. Quite well received. I was looking at some reviews of it. They'd say that it's just like Time Crisis arcade kind of experience. It's very, very difficult, but I have seen that they have since patched in some difficulty options and stuff, so I don't know if that's still the case. It'll be interesting to come at it with fresh eyes on PSVR 2, and that is due to land in September, so that looks pretty good, actually.
It does. I had a wee look at it. I also did a little nosy through the thread of tweets that I sent, and they said they hope it will be a free upgrade for PSVR 1 owners as well. They don't think they can confirm it yet. I'm quite interested to understand the process of who decides that and who makes that decision. Exact thing.
Yeah, who gets that's fascinating. Like who decides on that? Like, surely it'd be the devs, but apparently not.
You would have thought so, but you don't know. So they're hoping for that, but it does look pretty cool. Looks like one of those that I think Zombieland kind of falls quite into that category a wee bit as well. It plays really well, so I'd hope that, and I think as you say, this was well received for the first one, so nice for another game of this arcadey type shooter to come to the games. I think they're where the fun's at. I know we kind of spoke about it last week with the more realistic FPS shooters and stuff, and how they don't really appeal to us. It's not something we've ever, but I think the arcade ones are a completely different story. There's just far more pick up and play nature to them.
Yeah, for sure. And leaderboards as well, so I can see this being one for you, Alex.
We love a leaderboard, don't we?
You do love a leaderboard, but we'll come on to that later on in the episode about your leaderboard obsessions. But yeah, it looks good, and it reminds me of what when we interviewed York Diddle, he was saying about VR being like the modern day equivalent of going into a video game arcade back in the 90s and just seeing all these games that you can now recreate in VR, whether that's kind of a dancing game or these Time Crisis like light gun games. It's great that VR is kind of bringing all that gameplay back. You don't really get those sorts of games on normal sort of flat consoles now, so it's good. Can you got any ideas, either of you? Pitch on the spot, pitch to me please, any 90s arcade game you'd like to come back in VR. I'll go first. What's your
Great
thinking?
question.
I think I'd like to see Crazy Taxi, because if you can do Gran Turismo 7, that works really well in VR. So give me a Crazy Taxi game, just soundtrack by The Offspring and like that in VR, racing around. You'd be being sick all the time. It'd be hilarious. You just donutting around corners, just dropping people off, and just making it like a Dreamcast game. I'll be happy. Andrew will be happy. Lots of people will be happy.
That's two. I think racing games in general, like cartoony racing games in general, would be good. Like similar sort of era. I think like Daytona. I used to love Daytona USA. Like playing that, seeing the big side with Sonic the Hedgehog and going around that corner, and just I think that would be cool. Cruising USA would be another good one.
Oh, that would be.
That would
cool.
work well in VR, just because for how mad it is. But yeah, I'm trying to think of something beyond racing games. So like, because obviously with VR, your first thought is first person, isn't it, all the time? But like something like Masternoid, like a proper old school arcade game.
Because I was thinking like Space Invaders, they type here like
Pac-Man in VR.
Yeah, first person Pac-Man. You just
Oh, he's getting all the sound effects again. You're like that guy from Police Academy, Alex. He's just singing or making sound effects.
Do a helicopter. No, not with you, Willie.
That's an old school reference, that isn't it? It's Police Academy.
Great films though. Great films. Phil too have no idea what we're talking about.
Yeah, or maybe like you remember like that era of arcades, like the side-scrolling beat 'em ups. Just translate that into VR. That could be alright, because you know how much fun it was playing like those, Streets of Rage games, or like the Turtles on the Xbox, like that recent Turtles game. If you could play that with your mates in VR somehow, it would still be sky-scrolling, but you could have it in that kind of isometric.
We could almost have it more like
depth to it. It would be great fun.
A bit more like Pixel Ripped is a little bit, so it's more like rather than side scroll and it's front scrolling, and you are first person going towards all the things that would be coming at you from the side. So then you're just like almost like just barging through them all as they come towards you.
Yeah, cool.
Alex, did you have a suggestion there?
Sky's the limit, really.
I can't remember. I think I said something in there. We'll just assume that I did.
Okay,
Isn't there some like Star Wars trilogy arcade game that never came out anywhere else and can't be ported?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think I finished
maybe
that once.
I don't know.
I finished that game once.
At the arcade?
I think. Yeah. I just sat there. I think it must have been set too easy because it didn't seem too much of a challenge, but maybe it's just an easy game. Who knows? Good. Well, that's about it for the news. Actually, quite a light week for news this week, but that's good because it gives us time for me to grill Alex on what he has been playing. And first off, though, let's start with the game you've both been playing. If one of you would like to introduce what that is.
We've both been skater boys, haven't we, Ben?
Alex, are you going to sing for us? Come on.
No.
Oh, come on. A bit of Avril Lavigne. Come on, please.
I've had that in my head all day.
I am a skater boy. I said to you later, boy. No.
Just see Ben's
That's
face
my
every time
my
you sing.
weekly song. Ben
We've got
loves
lots of
my singing.
listeners that tune in just for your singing,
You
Alex.
do?
Phil too, especially. I know he's there for it.
Yeah, lots of
All the Phils, they love it. They all love it.
mating whales. They love that sound as well.
Oh, I love the Bills.
Yeah, but no, it's this. Alex, what do you reckon? What's your first impression?
We have been playing VR Skater, and I've said a wee bit leading up to this game. Like I really can envisage like how him.
Get it together, man.
Sorry, back to VR Skater.
Yeah.
No, as I said, I kind of said leading up to this, I had no idea how this game would feel, but it feels incredibly good. Like, just from that.
Sorry, it doesn't matter how you're dressed. Come on, be professional. Get it together.
He's actually fine. But it feels good, doesn't it, Ben? It does feel
It
good.
does. I was surprised. I really didn't. I wasn't sure how I'd get on with this. I thought it would be a bit motion sickness inducing, but there's been none of that so far.
Really?
Thankfully, yeah. It's just really good fun. Like when you do the basics, the very first part of the tutorial, and then you land your first trick basically, and then the the kind of logo pops up above your head. I did have one of those like, ha! Brilliant kind of moments.
Yeah.
Like it was just cool. And it's I want to stop saying cool, by the way. I've noticed I say that
I know.
a lot.
I
It's
think
really annoying. Like I need to find more words.
Hey,
to
it's the
describe
shoe fits.
things.
If it's a cool game,
Hey,
it's rad.
It's
a rad
bitchin'.
skater.
and I so immediately it kind of grabbed me and was a lot more fun than I was expecting. And I've basically done all of the tutorials bar the last one, which feels like this is a common complaint with me, and maybe it's just me. Seems to be glitched in some way. Like this, there doesn't seem to be any way to actually. I'm doing exactly what I should be doing.
Was it the spinny one?
It's
No?
the very, very last pro one. So basically the
Well,
last.
I've not done any of the pro ones. I stopped at the first 1 star and didn't do anything past that.
Yeah, so I've done all the advanced ones, and there's 2 pro ones. I did the first one, but then the second one doesn't seem to work. But anyway, and there are a few. I would say there's a few bits like that where it's quite rough around the edges, quite janky. In the tutorial, there's one tutorial where you have to like grind a rail, and it seems to put you just to the right of it.
That's annoying.
So like you should, in theory, I think it's set up so you should just go straight, and then you should just be able to grind the rail. But you can't. You have to steer ever so slightly to the left to get on the rail, and that was really pissing me off.
Yeah, I found myself I had to go way out and come back in towards it at an angle, or else I just couldn't get on the rail.
Yeah,
and
there's a few little frustrations like that. There's a few kind of presentational bits, like when you're going between different challenges, it will like flash up on screen and then come back again, and it's just a little bit rough, but it's almost forgivable because it's quite charming in a weird way, particularly for anyone that's like nostalgic for Tony Hawk or anything from that era.
Because you're quite big on Tony Hawk's Pro Skate, aren't you? You were when that.
I'm big in the scene.
Out, you played it a lot. You played it a lot.
Yeah, no, I
when
did.
that
I did.
Came out.
Yeah, and I loved them back in the day. I'm never been very good at them, but yeah, really liked it.
Do you feel like if you enjoy those, if you like the Tony Hawk classic Tony Hawk games, if you like those games, you'll like this basically?
Yes, I do. I think that same. It does. It feels weirdly. It does feel like Tony Hawk. The sense of momentum. It sounds ridiculous to say like, you're using your hand as your leg to sort of push yourself along, but it does feel like you're moving. And I'm finding myself when I'm getting ready to do a jump, I'll press the button in and also duck down at the same time. Yeah. And then I'll extend my legs when I'm jumping in the air, and you just find yourself doing all the actions that you would do if you're actually skating. It's I mean, I'd love to get a video of us doing it, Alex, because I think we'd look
we should probably try
ridiculous. But really, like as far as first impressions go, I am pleasantly surprised with this.
Agreed.
Despite all the little rough around the edges bits, there's enough there to make me want to go back to it.
And I think it's probably worth mentioning in regards to the rough around the edges, but I mean, it has been in early access and like PC VR for a while and isn't out of early access, but it's a one-person game, so one person's made this. So it's not like it's come from a big studio or this is a single-person developer who's spent a lot of time getting this game. So you can almost forgive some of those wee rough around the edges bit, because I don't think they really interfere with the gameplay as such when you're into the actual game modes. No. And the modes themselves they're a lot of fun, and I've found so you get 2 different modes. You've got basically, I think there's 3 different modes. So there's a challenge mode that it just basically puts you in a spot in one of the courses, and you've got like one jump to land or one trick to do or something, and that I've found that the best so far, because you're basically set up towards a jump or something. You go towards it, you jump, you try and do a trick, and you try and land it. And I think you need to basically do 3, get a high enough score to get a bronze, silver, or gold medal for that bit. You then have more of a free roam, it's not free roam, but you have like a street.
It's almost like a score
race,
attack.
Like
is it timed as well, where you're like?
I don't
trying to
think
do
it's
as many
timed, but you
tricks
can
as
only
possible.
fall off so many times. I think it's got 3 fails or something. But you basically, I think there's six courses. There's like a school, a docks, a neighbourhood. I can't remember what the other three are, but you start at the top, you get to the bottom, and you've got to do as many tricks by the time you get to the bottom to hit a certain score. And I find that more difficult because you need to actually skate, you need to steer, you need to do all the different bits and pieces. But I feel it's quite a good game at building itself up. That the tutorial is probably the hardest bit. When you go and do some of the challenges, it feels a lot better and a lot more natural, and then it all just kind of layers on top of itself. So by the time you've done it all a wee bit, it all kind of comes together. Because my first impressions were, this is really cool, but I'm never going to get any better at it yet. Then just before we came on, I'm like, oh, look, that's a nice flip, and I've landed that, and I've got a gold medal here, and and it does actually feel quite natural and come together. So very, very good first impression.
Cool.
Yeah.
This might be a silly question, but can either of you or have either of you ever skateboarded in real life?
No.
Oh, because we're scruffy, we must know how to skateboard.
Well,
I get it. Yeah, I get it. Yeah. No.
Yeah. I think it'd be interesting for someone who can skateboard or can do skateboarding. What their view on it is, how well it kind of recreates that. I'd like to get their impressions of it.
I did go snowboarding once, but I gave up halfway down, and they had to get a skidoo to take me down.
I couldn't. Nice. Well, I did try snowboarding. I couldn't do it, so I had to go back to skiing. I couldn't do it with one thing. So skiing was okay, snowboarding no. Just a couple of things before we move on for this. A couple of things from the press release I wanted to highlight, because Ben mentioned this earlier. So there's no leaderboards yet, but the leaderboards are coming. They're keeping the leaderboards closed to launch with ranked mode on the 4th of September. And the reason they're doing that is because they're running a competition from the 4th of September that's going to be linked to the leaderboards. They want to give everybody a bit of time to get up to speed with the game to then go over the board. And basically the competition is win a chance to skate with the pros. So an all expenses paid once in a lifetime trip to skate with pro skaters in a prestigious skating location to be announced in the future. And it's going to be tied to the leaderboard. So that's why they're not open yet. They want to give everyone time to get into the game, get up to speed with it, and then a fair chance at when they open the competition. So
just got visions of Alex winning that, turning up to pro skaters and just like going around on his knee.
It seems like a bit of an embarrassing thing to win here. They're setting people up for a fall, literally. Like, come on then, off you go.
Brilliant.
And the only other thing, there's also 3 new environments coming, but if you buy the game before the 4th of November, so the first 3 months, you'll get them for free, but if you buy it after that, you need to pay for them.
Interesting. And it's $29.99 on the PlayStation Store, so that's worth taking into account. Yeah. I think obviously we'll hopefully have more of a full review next week, but worth taking that price into account and the little
sweetener.
Yeah, but also the bits we said about it being slightly unpolished, shall we say.
Yeah, it's not janky because it's a wee bit unfair, but it's more like the kind of lack of polish.
But it'd be interesting to see when we're further into the game, got a few more trophies under our belt. I think I'm at 23% trophies. I think you're at about 19. Right. Just had to drop that in. We obviously we'll be able to give some more full thoughts from that point.
And as it's a perp game, it will be coming physically as well, because all the perps games come physically.
Yes.
I just can't get my head around one person's made this. That's insane.
Remarkable. And it takes 3 of us to make this.
Yeah.
Mad, isn't it? That puts it in perspective. Call my game janky. Watch your fucking podcast. Anyway.
Yeah, good. Any other final thoughts on VR Skater before I move us on?
Just looking forward to play more. It's dope.
It's dope.
Yeah.
It's dope. You look forward to play more. Cool. Alex, you have also been playing something else. Would you like to let us know?
I have. I finally started another Fisherman's Tale. And
this is where you tell me you hate it now, right?
Yeah, ultimately, it actually is.
It is.
Oh, amazing.
That's all right. Go on then. Let's hear it.
I can completely understand why you like this game, and I can see why people would like the game. I think the controls are fucking terrible. Like, I got the first level, I was fine, and I got there and I got through the second level when you had to guide this stupid wee hand up, and then I'm like, how am I supposed to get it in there? And I'm just like, nah, and I switched it off. I'm like, no, I can't do this. I can understand the charm of this game. I can understand the story, and I got the kind of, after coming out of that first level and getting into the basement and kind of understand what's going on, I'm like, I can see where this is kind of going to go. And then I'm like, controls are so frustrating. So frustrating.
It's a shame. I never had any problems with the controls. There was a bit of times where I had to aim it and just try on an error to sort of try and work out the angle.
I just don't find it intuitive, but it might just be the way. I don't know. I just haven't. I felt like the click turning was far too sensitive, and then changing that stuff, I just couldn't get it right, and then I was like all over the place and I couldn't get my direction right, and I was always going in the wrong direction. And then when you were trying to then guide that hand through puzzles, I was going all the wrong way all the time, and I'm like, this is just. I can see them trying to be a wee bit innovative here and how they're trying to make this work, and for me it just. Because, I mean, the hands basically becomes like it's like almost like an remote control car, really, isn't it? When you think about it. It's almost tank controls. Kind of,
yeah.
And I'm like, nah, I can't be dealing with this. Like, and I can see why you really like it, and I can see why the story would really evolve. And I'm not giving up on it yet. I will go back and try and do the bit that I got stuck at, and I'll try and power through, but I just can't do it. Like, it was so.
I don't know if you're not
probably the most
controls,
frustrated that I've been with a VR game.
Yeah, I don't know what to say, because if you don't like the controls, I don't think it doesn't change. That's what they're like all the way through. So unless it.
But I don't know if I just need to get more used to it than anything. If it just maybe I wasn't in the right mood. But I'm like, it's a shame, because I can genuinely see why you probably would fall in love with this game the further into it that you get, because it's charming. There is a charm to the game. It's just a shame for me about the controls, but it's probably a me thing, and I'm quite annoyed with.
I mean, it definitely is.
I'm annoyed that
the game's fantastic.
Well, yeah, but it was funny. Like, he's going to hate me for telling him how much I hate, but I'm like,
yeah, well, fair enough. No, better be honest.
And I mean, I don't hate it for the game. I hate it just because I can't play it. Which is a frustrating way for. I hate is probably a hard word. It's frustrated.
So it's not making your top 10 games then, Alex?
No, certainly not at the moment. It's definitely not at the moment.
Well, it's fine, because I hate Masternoid after all. So.
No, you don't.
No, you don't.
No, I don't. Don't worry.
But I'm sorry, Laurie.
No, well, you tried it. And maybe do try again.
I will try again.
Or persevere.
Yeah.
Did you grab that in the sale? $15.99.
Oh, I bought it ages ago.
Oh, you got it ages ago, didn't you?
Yeah,
I know it's just 20% off at the moment. If Alex is
if I've sold it to
anyone out there,
if that sold it to you, yeah. Well, just for the other case, for the defence after the prosecution has sat down now.
We've heard the defence. We know you love it.
The controls didn't really, not even think. I didn't give a second thought to any of it. It was fine, really. I think. The first working it out, it kind of took a little bit getting used to, but it's like the first level is a tutorial which teaches you all the movement and stuff. So I kind of worked through that, and then it was like, okay, I've got this now, and then just had clicked. So
yeah. At points I ended up like listing, like, am I supposed to have double jointed wrist trying to turn this thing round? And I'm like, no, surely this is not how I was supposed to be. No, it was just tying me up in knots. Yeah, but I was still like a weird idea. It's like crazy. It's probably just my inability to play games.
If it was on a deeper discount, I would be tempted to try it as well, just to have like the deciding vote as to whether we recommend it or not. But yeah,
I'll give
we do recommend
it.
Yeah.
We need a third opinion.
Oh well. Well, that's what we've been playing. I have been playing one thing, but I'm going to hold that because it's what we're going to be reviewing in just a second. But before we get to that, if anyone would like to support us, you can give this podcast a sub on the service you're using, and please do leave us a review too. That is really cool when people do that. We love reading those, as long as they're good. And follow us on Twitter at CrossButton VR and at the Cross Players. And if you really want to show the love, you can do so via patreon.com/thecrossplayers, and for £2 a month you can help us produce the show and get an entry into our lovely little WhatsApp group. And we also have a special little extra Patreon perk or sign up perk for anyone. The next person to sign up to our Patreon can have a code for the Room VR as a wee thank you. So if anyone would like to sign up to our Patreon, if they do so, we'll give them a copy of the Room VR. How about that? I can't say fairer than that, can you guys?
Well, I mean, I guess we need to wait and see whether the Room VR is any good
Well,
before they
maybe.
decide. Don't sign up to Patreon now. Hang on.
Yeah, wait till the end of this episode. Just I can see you hovering. You've rushed to patreon.com. You're hovering, thinking, hold on a minute. Do I actually want this game or not?
Do I want this game?
Well, we'll find out.
Forget everything we said last week.
Patreon is I would say now is a very good time to join up for Patreon. That is all I will say. But there are things in the works that make it very exciting. So get in there early is all I'm going to say.
I'm intrigued. And we also have a little giveaway winners to announce. Alex, if you could please do the honours for last week's the winners of the Masternoid codes.
We do. So we had two lovely winners, and thank you again for everyone that entered. So we had Tony Sibley, who's a second time winner. He's very lucky because he won one of our £10 codes a good few episodes ago now. So thank you for continually listening and entering. And Zach Payne, one of our American friends. So thank you both.
Thank you both.
Cool. And then I know everyone has been waiting. All of our listeners, viewers have been waiting to find out what has gone on in this week's instalment of VR the Champions, which Alex is going to sing for us.
No, I'm not.
He's already sung this week. But VR the Champions, everyone has been busily playing Masternoid. We've had a few people in our group who've gone out and bought PSVR2 headsets this week just so that they could take part in this giveaway. That's how, not giveaway, so the competition. That's how competitive our community really is. And so, Alex,
that's not even a lie.
Yeah, shout out to Lewis and Dan. We'll be talking to them in the coming weeks. But yeah, Alex, if you want to give us, in the most exciting way possible, a summary of what just went on.
I mean, I don't feel like I really should be the person giving this update.
Oh, okay, all right. Ben, can you give an update then on what happened?
Alex,
can you please?
Alex won. Move on.
Yeah,
he won.
Was it any doubt? I don't know.
No.
Well, there was because Ben took an early lead.
Yeah, I thought, do you know what? I'm going to put a marker down. Get everyone.
And he put a good marker down.
Yeah, and it was a pretty good score. So I think.
But yeah, I
was
love
in the
how
lead for about a day. Which, hey,
it's pretty cool. I love how the global leaderboard though is most of the top 10 now is just people from our community that have been playing for VR the Champions. That's so cool. If we can do that every time there's a score competition, that would be awesome. And Alex, how does it feel to be? How many number ones have you got now on this game? How many stages are you number one on? How many stages are there?
50.
Okay, so you're not quite. I think
I'm aiming to be halfway in the next. I think I've got the most. So
I was going to say there can't be anyone with more than 19 first places.
No.
So it's safe to say you are the best person in the world at this game now.
I don't know about that. I think George and Nikos and I've forgotten his name now as well.
I'd like to help you out.
And Petros, sorry Petros. But I think Nikos, Petros, and George would have something to say about that. I'm in a little battle with the devs.
Yeah, well, come on, Pixel Magnet. You need to raise your game now. You can't just be letting Alex beat you at your own game, literally. Beat you at your own game.
But what I was going to say is one of the updates that they're looking at implementing that they mentioned on their Discord this week is an overall leaderboard. So that would tell us who is the best at the game. So that would...
combine the scores, merge the scores for all of the levels.
Yes.
Wow.
That would be good. That would be cool.
But no, that was a good challenge. Who was it who came... So you came first. Who came second?
Stored Bart on Discord was second. He just pipped Ben to second and knocked Phil off the podium.
All right. Phil and Ben. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. It was a fun challenge. And what have we got in store for next week?
Well, we gave
choice, wasn't it?
Yes, we gave Phil one the choice of challenge for this week. So he's picked Thumper, level 2 on Thumper, highest score over the course of the week.
I'll be on that as well.
Nice
little game. Are you going to join us this time, or are you still?
I don't actually have Thumper. Cool. So
it's like £3 to upgrade.
Okay, I mean,
or £3 to buy it. I think
Laurie's like,
it's still going to be a no.
You need to get involved, Laurie. Come on.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, maybe.
For audio listeners, Laurie is furiously shaking his head.
Maybe.
Cool. No, that was good fun. I'm looking forward to Thumper.
Was.
Definitely.
Are you? Poor her.
Good. Well, let's get on to the main topic of the week then. We're going to talk about now the Room VR. So
A dark matter.
A dark matter.
It's the subtitle.
Yeah. So the Room VR, chaps. We've all been playing it. What do we think?
Excellent.
Banger.
It is excellent, isn't it? And you two have both finished it now. So once again, we're in a position where we can give our complete thoughts on the game. I think I'm about halfway through the game. So yeah, pretty decent way through it. And I'm really enjoying it.
Good. No, I'm glad to hear it. We should probably explain what it is.
Yes.
First and foremost, for anyone that isn't familiar. I would kind of say it's a spooky, puzzly escape room
Mystery. Yeah.
mystery narrative kind of
Adventure.
very soft narrative adventure. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the meat of the gameplay is an escape room translated into VR. It's that experience of being in, you're in a room, or a small series of rooms, solving puzzles, working out things, how things interconnect, opening secret boxes, turning cogs and things. You're looking your way around, turning and interacting with objects to try and solve the puzzles, to solve the clue, to find the next bit, to move on to the next bit. And it's an escape room basically. You're trying to find those three little pyramids, or the little pyramid devices in each room, aren't you? Trying to unlock those.
Yeah.
Basically.
It starts off. You're in a what year is it set? It's like some Victorian.
It's 1908, I think. I think it's 1908.
Okay, yeah. So Victorian London, there's all the kind of smog and the fog outside, and you're in a police station. So you are a police detective. And it starts off. You've got a letter, or you're looking at some on the projector. There's a missing persons case. You're looking into this missing persons case, and then there's this mysterious letter that appears in the police station. And even the police station is kind of a training tutorial room where you're having to solve the clues or solve the puzzles in there about how you can gain access to the piece of evidence that you need, which is locked in the safe. So that's just sort of teaching you the mechanics and things. And you can teleport around the room. That's the only movement, is just teleporting to the points of interest. So you're not forever just looking around at things that are just wasting your time looking for things that aren't there.
Love that, by the way. Love that. Yeah.
Yeah, because you know that if you can't find anything where you are, you can just keep going to the different points of interest rather than just like wandering aimlessly looking for things. And it's great, and you can only interact with things that are parts of the solution to puzzles. And you might interact with it and put it in your inventory, and it might not be something you use right away, but again, you're not just forever going around picking up stuff looking for things. So it's
because you'll think, I can teleport here, therefore this must be a relevant spot at some point.
Yeah.
Even if it's not relevant now. So it's a really elegant way to get around that frustration of like point and click kind of games where you're just like, can I interact with this? What does this do? It's like, it really narrows down your focus of, okay, I've got 3 spots, therefore one of these must be the first thing that I need to do. And you just kind of, and there's clues as well.
Yeah, it kind of points you in the right direction in a really subtle way as well. I think it's very good at doing that, even without the hints. Even without those clues. But I think, speaking of, might as well talk about the hint system. I think the hint system is incredibly well done. Because it is that kind of standard. You get a 1, 2, and a 3, and you need to wait for each part of the puzzle. You need to wait a certain amount of time before the first one becomes available, and it gives you like a slight nod in the right direction. The second one's a little bit more blunt, and the third one's like, just go and do this. And I think
I even love how when you pull up the inventory, you just pull down the hint.
Yeah,
it's just a neat little thing. You just sort of pinch it and you put it down, and it sort of pops back up again when you release it. It's just such a sort of intuitive little mechanic. I love that.
Yeah, and the whole game is really tactile. Like it does make you feel like, even a pulley system, pulling it up and down, this haptic feedback as you're doing it. It feels like you're actually doing it. It's and you just want to reach out and grab stuff and turn locks and pick things up, rotate them in your hand. It's just elegant, as I said. I think everything about it is just really well executed. The polish, I didn't notice any jank whatsoever. So So yeah, presentation wise, if we move on to that, I was really impressed. I think they nailed the atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
Like we said, I think we said this on last week's show, but it's sort of spooky without being scary. It's just kind of got this.
It's a chill
weird,
to it.
Eerie. Yeah.
I mean, it's not scary because of the sort of game it is. It's not like nothing's going to jump out and just kill you or anything. It's not like that. But there are it's very like creepy. It's like, oh, I don't want to solve this puzzle because it might be don't want the same thing to happen to me. What's happened to the person I'm investigating?
Yeah. And I'm creeping around in this museum at night, and then suddenly there's like thunder and lightning.
I was just going to say the lightning is really well done. How that lights up the room.
It's sound design, everything like that is just really
well
nicely
done.
executed. Yeah,
and as well as the. Go on, Alex.
I was just going to say it, and I think we also mentioned this last week, but it's quite, given it was a PSVR1 game, I think it's quite surprising how good things like that are, how tactile it is, how good it looks, how the sound does. It just shows how good a port and how good a job they've done, how much care they've taken to port it, I would say. I mean, we've got nothing to compare it to. We haven't played the PSVR1 game, but I can't imagine it looked anywhere near as good as this one does. It was presented anywhere near as good.
Yeah, I mean, those environments are... I mean, they're not far off photorealistic, right? And it's easy to do that, I suppose, when you have quite a confined fixed space with just fixed points that you're going to and stuff. So I can see how and why they can do it, but it really is a visual showcase. It does really show off the system in a really good way.
Yeah, it's just sort of clean, isn't it? And I think, but not only, I think the complexity comes in when it builds, it layers on the mechanics really nicely.
Yeah.
To a point where when you get to the crescendo of the game, everything kind of comes together. And it almost feels like, sometimes you get to the end of the game and it feels like a slog. It's like, right, now you've like a boss rush or a really long level. I felt like the end of this, they landed it perfectly.
Yes.
Because it was just the right length, just the right level of challenge where it's like, okay, I know all the different powers I've got. I know how all the puzzles here work. So it's almost like a really smooth culmination of all of your powers and everything you've learned in the couple of hours you've played already, and you just land the plane really smoothly at the end of it, and it doesn't feel like there's any friction at the end, which is really nice. The friction is all front loaded at the start, and there's one level that's feels longer than all the others, and there's that where you're kind of learning everything, but by the end it's like, I've mastered this, and that's such a great and difficult feeling to nail. So that's impressive as well.
Yeah, to make you feel clever in a logical puzzle solving game is very cool.
Exactly.
It makes you feel like a genius. It makes you like a detective. It just helps you really inhabit that role that you're playing.
It's very intelligently done without being too intelligent, if that makes sense. Like, the puzzles are not basic. They're not basic at all. They take a bit of thought, but I think there's enough clues there. Even within the environments, there's enough clues there to help you solve them. There's enough to give you a point in the right direction, and you probably, there's not too many. There are some where you're a bit like, I've got no idea what I'm supposed to do here, but most of them, like, you see, like, the symbols here, and there's this and there's that, and there's like, well, I'm going to have to get a combination of them to do this, to do that. I think it puts enough in front of you to kind of give you enough to say, right, I get the crux of what I need to do here, without being like, well, this is what you must do, and without just having no clue what to do. I think they've just got that level perfect in terms of...
Yeah, and so just to kind of explain that for people, then you might have to start off, it could be something simple like, okay, you've got an object with a star-shaped base, and it's like, okay, well, I saw over there's a star-shaped hole, I can put this in and it's going to unlock something. So that's quite relatively straightforward and simple. But then it builds, and it could be that you've got things you need to arrange. There's a code of how you need to arrange things, and the solution might be written on different panels on the walls and stuff, where you might have to just observe what's on the wall. It really reminded me, and this might not mean anything for people in America, but of the Crystal Maze, how they might be going in a room and they're trying to solve the puzzle room that they're in the Crystal Maze, and they've only got a couple of minutes to do it, but there might be something written on the wall that's giving them a hint, or it might be some object on them in the table that they've just got to try and work out how to interact with it. And when you get it, you think, okay, I've got this now. And you will always get it if you just look around or play around with what you've got. It will eventually, it will click. And the beauty of this is you've got all the time you need, and if you're getting fed up with not clicking, you've got a very well designed hint system The first hint just will give you a very gentle nudge. You still are solving it yourself, but it's just like, okay, I'm looking in the wrong place here. Thank you. So it's just great. It's like the hint system. It's like in Crystal Maze where they've got someone looking through the window shouting through the door. Like, yeah, it's like that. It's great.
Yeah, I think in terms of like wow moments, I do think that it's got a few of them, but I almost don't want to like say what they are.
No,
Because
you
they
don't
are-
want to spoil anything.
Yeah, they're lovely to experience, and when I had the first one of those, it was just like it was a wow moment. So I think it's very high on that scale, definitely.
Yeah, it does a lot of cool things, and it's kind of like, you know, like in Dan Brown, the Da Vinci Code, those sorts of books where you've got people running around, or like Indiana Jones, where they're in ancient tombs and solving little clockwork puzzles that unlock doors. It's all that, and it's so always fun to see that in films or stuff, and to see that in VR, to be in a game where you solve something and then this little box just magically opens in front of you, and you can hear all the gears and all the sort of clockwork inside it whirring away as it all unfolds and opens up and reveals the next puzzle inside that. It's like that bit at the start of, is it The Glass Onion? The film, have you seen that on? Where they've got that puzzle box that opens up. It's quite like that, reminded me of as well. So, and that's the wow moment. It's just when you see these little intricate things just all, and you've done that, you've solved it. So it's great at that.
Delightful.
And
Yeah,
and I think when you first start this, so in terms of the grumpy old man scale, when you first start it, it wants to be played room scale. But Alex, in fact, then once you get into the game, it asks you if you want to play it sitting or standing, which seems strange to me. I have been playing it in room scale and standing, and that is great because you can walk around the tables and the puzzles and look at them and inspect them from different angles and stuff, which is useful. And you could walk over, have that bit of space in the room. But have you been playing it sitting at all? How's that?
I played it fully seated.
yeah, same, 100%.
Okay.
Sitting down, it's absolutely fine. Lends itself really well because the locomotion is purely just teleporting, isn't it? It's I didn't feel the need to get up or peer around corners or anything. It always really efficiently just takes you where you need to go. So it's
I think I'm just quite enjoying that. I just like walking around the environments and until I hit the barriers of the room and stuff. But yeah, well, it's good that you can play it in both. So from an old grumpy old man point of view, it's very slow, gentle, complete teleportation. So there's no I think this would be a good one for someone new to VR. This would be quite a good one for them to play because there's can't see anyone getting motion sick playing this.
No, definitely not. Not a hint of it. It's very, very comfortable to play. A pleasure to play.
Pleasure to play. And in terms of is it a decent game? I think the fact that this is already a well-established series on mobile, very, very, the Room series of games is quite big in the mobile gaming space. And so it's a tried and tested. It is a good game in its own right. I'm really enjoying it. It's something I'd never played these games on mobile before, so this is a very new gameplay for me to experience. Again, it's another thing that I'm just loving PSVR2 for. They're just opening up new gameplay experiences that I just have not played. If anyone that's bored of just playing the same sorts of games on normal consoles, to be able to play these VR games, they're great. This is just something completely new I've not had before. It just works really well. Yeah, I hope there's more games like this that come out to PSVR2.
Yeah,
definitely. It's a massive recommendation, I think, from all of us. I think the only thing I would possibly caveat that with is it's because, well, there's been a lot of discourse about the length of games against the price of them. That obviously, make of that what you will, but just do be aware this is what, 2-3 hour game maybe.
I'd say it's probably at least 3. It's at least 3.
Taking me a bit longer than that.
Okay. Right, let's say 3-4 hours. It is £24.99 full price. It's on sale, 25% off at the moment until the 16th of August 2023. So I think we all recommend it, and I would say if it sounds interesting to anyone in the audience at the moment, I would snap it up before it goes back to full price.
Yeah, I think if you're someone that's really into VR, escape rooms, then you're probably used to paying a lot more than that for an hour-long escape room experience. And this is a fantastic escape room experience. And yeah, you can do it as many times as you like to your heart's content. And I would say as well, after playing this for a bit, I have downloaded, because the Room 2 is on Apple Arcade, so I have downloaded it. And oh god, it's just like this is horrible to play because I just want to be able to move around and just pick up the stuff without. It's just trying to swipe and pinch to tap on things. It's just I don't know. I can't. I imagine if you'd only ever played the Room on mobile, it would be fine. But it's so much richer in VR. When I was trying to play it on the mobile Apple Arcade version, I was like, oh, this is. I do not want to play this. This is not at all what I want. So yeah, and I know there's a lot of fans of the series who were like aggrieved that there was another entry in the series that came out on VR that they couldn't play on mobile. But yeah, I would just encourage them to just try and get hold of a headset. It's on Quest and stuff as well. So just give this one a go because it's really good.
Yep,
absolutely.
Stamp of approval, most definitely.
Great. Well, that just about wraps things up. So thanks again, everyone, for listening. If you have enjoyed this episode, we would love it if you could please tell your friends and family all about us. And if you'd like to get us more involved, the rest of our friends, please don't hesitate to drop into our Discord and say hello. And thank you to everyone that's already done so. Last but absolutely not least, thank you to all of our patrons for supporting the work we do. I've been your host, Laurie. These two have been Ben and Alex. We will see you again next time. Until then, it's goodbye.